Hello, my name is Erica Novakoski and I am from Dart Appraisal. I'm recording this short tutorial today to cover the basics of adding a new commercial order to Dart Appraisal's website. To start off, you're going to go to www.dartappraisal.com and enter your credentials right here. These credentials would have been provided to you by Dart Appraisal directly through email or possibly from a member of your management team. Once you log in, it'll look like this. You're going to see the Client Center. Now, there's a lot of different menu options here, and these have all been described in the original video, which is called the Client Center Guide, System Basics, and Residential Orders. So I would suggest if you haven't watched that yet or gone through that guide, that you do so before we continue here. This one will specifically look at how to create a new commercial order in Dart Appraisal System. Now, before we click over to this page, I just wanted to point out if you scroll down along the bottom left, you'll always have a commercial order contact. So if you have any questions before you get going, feel free to use the information provided here to call us or email us to get through any basics that you might need to know. Moving on to the Create New Commercial Order page. Our system is going to start by asking you to choose the form itself. So we have Commercial Technical Review, Appraisal Report, Restricted Appraisal Report, Evaluation, Compare and Contrast, and Final Inspection. After you've chosen your form, it also asks for the intended use. We have multiple options. Some might include new construction, investment property, asset management, purchase, renewal, or other. If it's ever other, that's fine. Just make sure that you describe what specifically will be needed in one of the notes boxes that we'll see below. Intended users and investors is also here for you to select. It could be none or it could be other, but just make sure to tell us if it is a conventional or SBA or USDA situation. Also, if it's other, make sure to describe that below. This parcel ID number field is not required, but I just wanted to point out that this is an incredibly useful piece of information for us. So if you have the parcel ID number, please be sure to include it with your order. This cuts down on research time for us before we're able to send the order out to appraisers to bid. Next up, it asks for the property address, city, state, code, and county. Please ensure that the zip code and county are correct when you're placing the order. A large part of our assigning panel is looking at appraisers by county first and then narrowing down from there. So it's good to make sure that we have the proper information right from the get-go. Next up is property type. Now, we have a long list of products here for you, but then you'll notice at the bottom it also says other. Any of these can be chosen, but we wanted to point out that we are able to facilitate many different types of commercial orders that may not be specifically listed here. So if you have a different kind of property or different situation, that's perfectly fine. Just make sure to choose other and then give us as much description as possible in the different description boxes so that we fully understand what you need from this report. Property status is next. This has to do with whether it's existing or proposed, if it's going to be renovated, or if it's just land only. Number of tenants. For this one, I wanted to point out, say that the property is vacant, please put 0 here. If it's owner occupied, please put 1. Or if there's only one tenant and there's not an owner, please put 1. And then it asks you to specify occupancy. So it could just be owner occupied, could just be tenant or multiple tenants, could be owner and a tenant or multiple tenants, or it could be vacant. For the next year, it's a couple more description features of the building or buildings. So we have square footage and site size as required fields, but please, again, just make sure to provide as much information as you have. Next up, we have a few boxes with longer description capabilities. The current use of the property, and then also down here, proposed use, if that's applicable, building description, and legal description. Next up, our system will ask for some more details. It confirms the transaction type, so purchase, refinance, new construction, other, foreclosure. Again, if it's other, just make sure to describe what's going on. This loan number field here is not required, but if you do have a loan number that you would like us to use as a tracking field, then I would highly suggest you include it. Whenever we send you emails or send you bids to begin with, we'll include that loan number on our communication. So if it's easier for you to track it by that, I would suggest including it here. This ordered by field is just asking for you to put in your own name. So who is actually ordering this file? For tracking purposes later, it makes it easier just to make sure that everyone knows who placed each file in case there might be more than one of you within the same ID. This email to field is very important. Within this email to field, please specify the email address or email addresses, separated by commas, of any individual or individuals who would need to receive status updates or report delivery. This includes your own email if you're the one ordering it and you need to receive status updates or report delivery. Next, it'll ask for the borrower information, their first name, last name. We have 2 spots. If there's more than 2 borrowers, just put the other ones within one of the description fields. There's also an email field here. Excuse me. This would only be used if the payment method is going to be sending a borrower payment link, or if we are going to enable the borrower delivery feature where we would deliver the report to the borrower at the same time that we deliver it back to you. Next up, all of these sections have to do with contact information, specifically for the entry contact and also for realtor information if there is one. So in this case, please make sure to put the names of the individuals that should be here, email if you have it, phone numbers or multiple phone numbers if you have it. Any of these fields here will accept letters or numbers. So whatever information you have, please include it for us here. The more the better. Next up is instructions. Now, for scope of work, I just wanted to emphasize this. Our goal is to understand the purpose of the appraisal and the collateral that is to be part of this appraisal assignment. This scope of work is one of the main ways that we are going to make sure that we understand what needs to be explained in the bid to the appraisers. The property type and intended use are especially important aspects of this process as well. But essentially, the scope of work is setting the overall expectations, what's appraised, how it's appraised. The cost and estimated delivery date will also be affected by this. A fuzzy scope of work can sometimes lead to a less competitive and less reliable bid, whereas a clear description of the scope of work of the subject is going to allow for kind of a win-win situation for everyone. We have enough information to make sure that we're getting you exactly what you need the first time around. Next, there are 2 instructions boxes. This first one says special instructions. This is anything that you would like DART appraisal to know internally. So anything having to do with assigning the order, billing for the order, or anything else along the lines that we might need to know about processing this file correctly for you. This one says appraiser special instructions. So anything in this box, after we approve it, will go over to the appraiser on their order form. So it's anything about maybe when they should reach out to the contact to schedule, or something else, another contact that they might need to reach for information before they go out. Anything along those lines can be placed in this box here. This checkbox right here is if you need an appraiser that is a member of the Appraisal Institute. By all means, if that is required, then please check this box, but just keep in mind it may slightly limit the amount of appraisers who are available to bid on an order. Next up are the different types of values that you can select. Please check however many apply and just be as accurate as possible. This selection affects the bid and appraisal pricing, and ultimately it affects what types of values will be included within the report that you receive. Before you submit the order, you'll notice that there are some options here to attach files. Some of the common attachments we might see would be survey, flood certification, title, plans and specs, construction costs and budget, copies of leases or rent rolls, income and expense history. All of that can be sent here, and then you also have the ability to attach more files later if necessary. Once you submit this file, it'll take you to a received order screen to confirm that we have received your order and we'll begin working on it. Next, we'll be looking to find appraisers to bid, and we will send that back to you as soon as they are ready. At that point, you can choose. Anytime within the process of your order being facilitated by us, you can go back and look at it within the View Open Orders, and then afterwards, once it's done and shipped to you, you can actually check on it again in the Completed Orders tab and re-download the report documents if necessary. That concludes this short tutorial video on the commercial portion of our site. However, please go back, as I mentioned, to the Client Center Guide, System Basics and Residential Orders Guide and video to hear a description on all of these other menu options available to you. And just as a reminder, If you go back to your home page, right here you always have your commercial order contact, or if you just need a general question answered, you can always use 888-DART-123 or 327-8123 is how it is in numbers. Thank you very much. I hope this was helpful to you. Please get back to us with any questions. We look forward to working with you very soon.